So you just got your film scans back from your film lab and they look like this. Too often we see customers get heartbroken because their images come out muddy and grainy and super dark and they don't know how to fix it. If this has been you, I get it, it really sucks. But the good news is this is a fixable problem pretty much regardless of what camera you have. In this video, I'm explaining the most common failure in film photography, something that ruins more photos than anything else: underexposure. Today, I'm gonna show you how to nail your exposures and get great results from your film in every common situation. Stick around, and by the end, you're gonna have a much better understanding of how to use your film camera. So this is an example of what color negative film looks like when it's underexposed. So the circumstances that you run into when you have really underexposed film are gonna be that you're gonna have a lot of extra grain, you're gonna have color shifts, and you're gonna have more contrast than you want sometimes and less contrast than you want others. And that's gonna come down to the fact that you're not gonna get all the shadows of the image. In bad cases, you're not gonna get any of the midtones either. You'll just get little bright little bits of highlights. So like in this negative, if you see here, the only image that even really came out is this guy here. This is a chandelier, probably confused their camera's meter to the extent that like tried to expose for those bright points, or perhaps that was a disposable camera and they didn't use the flash. This is a correctly exposed image, and I can tell it's correctly exposed because it's got a nice darker tone, but it's not so dark that it's going towards black, right? Whereas this image, if you notice, I'm seeing almost more of the orange base of the negative, where there's very, very little detail in these shadows. So if I'm looking here, the shadows here have no detail left and they're almost completely transparent. And that's how I can tell this image is underexposed. And this person is wearing a black dress, and you can still see that there's detail even on all the little bits of the black dress. And then the sky is like nice and dark, where it's, you know, it's not quite black, but it's closing on black because that's supposed to be a fairly whited out sky. Okay, so how do you get that extra light to your film? Well, that's where the exposure triangle comes in. And the exposure triangle is basically what you're gonna need to know how to get the right amount of light to your film. If I'm using the exposure triangle, that's gonna be your aperture, your shutter speed, and your ISO. And those three things all kind of relate to one another. And you can use the three of those to adjust your settings to get the right result every time. So here at Coastal Film Lab, we get a lot of people that will ask, what are the right settings for a particular situation? And that's basically an unanswerable question, and honestly the wrong question to be asking. The correct exposure for your photo is in some sense the one that you wanted your photo to have. You have to make that artistic decision. So the other thing you could do is you could rely on pre-memorized lists of like shutter speed and aperture combinations for different situations, but that's also really not the right thing to do. It's gonna remove so much creative choice from the process, and it's just not going to be the right way of going about taking photos. So I can see what you're probably thinking. Maybe your eyes are glazing over and you're going, I don't even have one of these. Like, why is he telling me this? This doesn't apply to me. But this info also kind of applies even if you have a more automatic camera like this one. So with an automatic camera, there's still a lot of situations where understanding how light works and how to see light and how exposure works are gonna help you a lot. And I can still help you in this video. So basically one thing you can do with this kind of a camera, even though it's fully automatic, I can actually control how this camera is exposing. It has a simple light sensor that's gonna basically just take the scene that you're photographing and average it all out so that you get whatever it thinks was the right exposure. And the problem is sometimes the average it gives you is just flat wrong. So like if you're photographing your friend, they're backlit in the sun, it's not gonna be able to get the exposure for that right because the sun's so much brighter than your friend is, and you're gonna end up with a thing where your friend's just solid black and the sun is, you know, properly exposed, but you don't care about that. You wanna get a good middle exposure where your friend is properly exposed. And so how to do that is I'm gonna point this at the ground, and pointing the camera at the ground, like by the person's feet and half pressing that, is going to give me the exposure I need so that when I go and back up and recompose, I'm gonna have the right shot so that my friend is exposed correctly. So one little asterisk to share here about that is that when you're doing that half press, you do have to make sure that you're half pressing in an area that is near what you're trying to photograph, you know, like distance-wise, as you'll have to get them in the same focusing plane. You don't want to have your subject be out of focus just because you're trying to get the right exposure. So what if you just have a disposable camera? Now, a disposable camera, you have a lot less control. This has one shutter speed, and the only thing you can control is basically turning on and off your flash. So you're not gonna be able to get the same level of, exposure adjustment that you would out of an automatic or a manual camera, right? So with this, basically, all that you're limited to is turning that flash on and staying within about 8 feet of your subject. If you're anything outside of bright daylight, you're not gonna be able to get a good exposure with no flash outside of broad daylight with a disposable camera. We see this a lot. Just if you're gonna use a disposable camera, stick that flash on, stick within about 8 feet of your subject. That's gonna be your best case for using something like this. So another thing that we commonly see people ask us about is, how do I go ahead and shoot an old expired roll of film? So say you found a roll at a thrift store or flea market, or somebody gave you a roll, it was in your grandma's fridge, and you're not sure how old it is, you're not sure how it was stored, so what's the best way to shoot that? For an old expired roll, your best bet is to just give it as much light as you physically can, within reason, of course. You're gonna have weird color shifts and stuff regardless, but at least that'll give you an image. When comparing to a fresh roll of film, you can see that these expired rolls here have way different base colors to them. This will lead to all sorts of things. You'll notice that some of these will get a lot thinner, and where you'll have really less dense negatives, and also funky colors. So if you see this base color here, this will lead to the colors getting all off and needing to be corrected. So I think the biggest thing that I want you to take away from this video is that it's so important to learn the fundamentals of how you do your photography. If you don't learn like basic stuff, so just your aperture, ISO, your shutter speed, the exposure triangle, you're not gonna be able to get a good clean result out of your images, and you're always gonna feel like you don't understand kind of what you're doing, and you don't feel like you have a grasp on this. And a lot of this stuff is like fairly straightforward. It might seem scary at first, but really it's very much achievable, and it's something that you can learn to do pretty quickly. Another very important sanity check on any in-camera light meter that you can always use, or you can use if your camera doesn't have a built-in light meter, is the Sunny 16 rule. The Sunny 16 rule is a very simple way of determining what the correct exposure is when you're in broad daylight. So, if it's 12 o'clock at noon and the sun's out in the sky, you can be at f16, ISO 100, and 125. Basically, depending on what ISO you're at, the shutter speed will follow that. So if you're using a 400 speed film, you'll be at 1/500th of a second. And if you're using a 200 speed film, you'll be at 1/250th of a second. That'll just give you a good mid-tone exposure that you can use as a little sanity check. It doesn't mean you have to use those exact settings. So to recap everything that we talked about today, the first thing I want to remind you of is that you always pretty much want to expose for the shadows. Underexposure is the enemy with any color negative film or black and white negative film, for the most part at least. The second step is the exposure triangle. Your aperture, your shutter speed, and your ISO, understanding how those relate to one another. The third thing is going to be that the correct exposure for your photo is the one that you wanted it to have. So I want you to be really intentional with the results that you're getting, and attempting when you're shooting to always be thinking about, how do I want this image to come out? The fourth one is that if you're using a disposable camera, always make sure to use the flash as much as you can. It's always going to come out better that way. And then the flash is only going to be effective within about 8 feet. For this last tip, for expired film, all the time make sure that you're overexposing. It's going to come out way better if you do that. Thank you so much for watching. If you're in need of a reliable film lab that will do a good job with your film and be able to give you good feedback on your results, please mail in to us from just about anywhere. You're also feel free to drop by our retail store here in Tampa, Florida.